Hey guys, Will here. In this video, we are going to be replacing the fork seals to this 2008 Kawasaki KX250F. This video applies to your 2006, 2007, and 2008 dirt bike models. So without further ado, let's get into this video. And I'm going to try to make this video as easy to follow as possible, so you could be a complete beginner and still be able to nail this. So, follow along with me, and I'm sure you'll have it just fine. And you're probably wondering, how do I start this project? Well, don't worry, it's actually really straightforward and pretty easy. First, we're going to start by removing the fork guard. It's very straightforward. You get your 8mm socket and you just whip these off. You just come off pretty easily. No effort needed if you have an electric driver. And this comes off just like that. So let's put this aside and let's get to the other one. We made it to the other side here. Now let's remove this bolt and these two that are holding this wire on. We could just remove this. So let's start by removing my 8mm. That to the side. And I got two up here. As you can see, those. As these ones are pretty tight on there. Alright, they'll just kind of fall into the spokes. And then this comes off to the side. And now we can collect our pieces. So just like that, all these come off and they're pretty easy to get back on. And now I can move to part 3. Now that we have both fork guards off, it's going to look something like this. And now we're going to loosen these 4, holding on the axle. So let's get to that. And I'm using this torque wrench to see exactly what torque these are set to, so I can have an ease of installation. So I'm going to start with this one. Just going to torque this off. I'm going to turn on my torque wrench. Okay, now so I'm going to torque it off. Alright, so you're at 21.23, so 21 foot-pounds of torque these are set to. So, next one. Alright, same. This one is 23 foot-pounds. Now these are nice and loose. We move on to the next side. These are probably going to be around the same. Yep, 23. And 23 again. So now that we have these loosened, we can hand loosen them out. And let's get to that. I'm going to hand loosen these off. Alright, for this part, you're just going to need your 22mm socket, and I'm using my torque wrench again to see the torque that's coming off this bolt so I could have an easy assembly. So I'm going to put my camera over here because I don't think I'll be able to hold it in one. Get this torqued off. Bike is going to want to move a little bit. And alright, so we read about 41 foot-pounds of torque. So for next time, I'm gonna know to torque that to 41 foot-pounds. And I think this will hand loosen after you loosen it up. And yeah, let's get to part 5. Part 5 is going to be removing the front axle and taking the front wheel off so we can have access to the forks. This will be pretty simple. I found a 9mm and a hammer. Gets the front axle out just right, just fine. So let's get to our socket, and I'm gonna put the camera over here so you guys can see how this is done. Alright, let's start by hammering it out. Now let's take our wheel and put it somewhere safe. Like, I'm gonna put my wheel under here to avoid being stepped on or anything. Just like that. And I'm gonna take my axle, stick it over here. And on the wheel, there's these little things. I'm just gonna leave them in because they're already greased up. And yeah, that's part 5. Now we are on to part 6. By this point, your fork should just kind of be free floating here. Just move around. And you can see the oil on my fork. I don't know if you can from the video, but it does. And now we're just going to I'm gonna use my torque wrench again. I'm gonna torque the caliper off. We'll have the caliper kind of just hanging there because it's attached to the fork and we don't want to have that while we're replacing the fork seals. So I'm gonna use my torque wrench. We're gonna torque these off. See what torque spec is on those, and I'm going to place my camera right here so you can kind of see. Alrighty. So that was 17 foot-pounds of torque. So let's do that with the other one. As you can see, that's fine. We'll do that. I'm gonna kind of reroute this like just over there. This bar pad, you're not gonna want to put it with all the other parts that we removed. Just like that. After you got the bar pad removed, you'll have access to the handlebars and the fork cap. And again, if you're like me and do not have a table vise, this is a good method for you to remove these. These are torqued on, and I already tried this before to have the whole fork out and remove these, and it just won't budge because the whole thing's slippery. And same with down here. Those ones are torqued down pretty hard, and to do that, I just get an impact and just impact those out. And then when I put it back in, I just give a nice impact gun to them. Those are pretty simple, but up here, we're going to, I have this method, and just follow along with me if you do not have a table vise. Alright, we're going to start by removing the handlebars. So I already marked those with a permanent marker where they are at. I like them where they're at. I'm just going to kind of cut a slit into here so I know exactly where to put my bars next time. I'm gonna cut a slit. Nice deep slits I kind of see. So right there, you can kind of see my slit right there. I'm gonna do the same with the other side. It's kind of blurry, but I'm just gonna do the same. Alright, I have a pretty deep slit, just to see where I'm gonna have them. And now that that's done, we could remove these. And I'm just gonna get my torque wrench. I'm just gonna see how much. Alright, next step is we're just gonna take our handlebars, just like that. Kind of just flip them over. Kind of like that, so we could have, and also kind of put this hose aside, so we can have access to this. I'm going to show you what we're going to do here in a little bit. We're going to remove these next. So let's get our torque wrench, and we're going to remove those. Alright, so I'm going to start with this one. This one was at 11 foot-pounds. I don't know if that's enough. Same, this one, I'm gonna move this one. That one was 14 foot-pounds. I'll find on my torque spec for those next time. We're just finished loosening them with our impact driver. Okay, this one is 14. And this one, 14 as well. I'm sure it'll be the same for the next side, so let's get these off with our impact gun. We got our impact gun. Let's just remove these. I'm just gonna remove them to where they're like all the way out, like slightly threaded in, because they're kind of gonna need them. So like, yeah, just have them slightly threaded in, not fully out. And now, the satisfying part, this fork just slips out. Just like that. I'm gonna put mine on the ground right here. I'm gonna do the same with the other side. So let's torque this one right off. Sorry about that. Do the one. Alright, and same with the satisfying part again. I'm gonna lay it down. See the other one. Alright, this next step is kind of technical. This number plate, these pins, I just popped them out there and kind of have it flopping. And now we're going to move this like this. It's pretty natural, doesn't require any force. So you see how that just pops out? Maybe move it just a little bit more. Just like that. I'm gonna slide my fork in and that'll allow me to torque this cap off. So let's get our fork and let's slide it in there. And it's gonna require me to have two hands, but I'm gonna slide this in. I'm gonna tighten that. All right, we are back. I did the thing, I slid it through, I tightened those down, and see, now we can get our torque cap. Wrong side. We can get our torque cap and loosen this from right here. See how I have that? I'm not gonna loosen this all the way, I'm just gonna crack it loose, and then that'll kind of make it easier for me when I get it off. So let's go ahead, let's crack this loose. I'm gonna hold this in place with my arm, and I'm just going to try to crack this loose. It's gonna be kind of hard for my camera, so again, I'm gonna stop the video and get back to you when I have this cracked loose, just by doing that. Probably about 10 seconds later, I did get this cracked loose. I ended up just having this go all the way this way, and I just applied a lot of torque, just moderate amount of torque to this. It wasn't super tight. See, now I have it. You see how I have it loose? See? It just spins. I'm not gonna loosen all the way. I'm just gonna loosen it just enough for me to easily remove it when I have the fork completely off. So right there is probably plenty. So now we're going to spin this and we're going to remove those bolts completely. Alright. Or just leave them slightly threaded in. I'll probably do that. And I'll be back with you. I removed these, have them slightly threaded in. I took the fork out, I laid it right up here. So just in case I have it slightly loose, so I don't want any fluid dripping if it's on the floor. So now we're gonna do the same exact thing we just did to this fork. So let's pick this one up. I'm gonna put it on the same side we just had it to make it less confusing. I'm gonna bolt this in the same way we had it. All right, we have it in there, and we're gonna do the same exact thing we just did to the other side. So let's get our fork cap wrench on there, and we're just going to bring it around this corner, and we're just going to crank it. Let's see if I could be able to crank it. So I'm gonna get on video because the other one was pretty loose. I was able to. All right, whew. Just like that. Jeez, it cracked loose. See, it cracked loose. I'm gonna loosen it again to be able to easily access this when I have it off. So it's nice and loose. And we're going to take this off. I'm gonna get that off video because the fork like to slide. I need two hands, so we'll be back. A few seconds later, got the forks laid upright to prevent any spillage, and we just have this. I'm going to leave this like this. I doubt it'll cause any sort of damage. I might just flip these bars up, just like that, overnight for next time when I touch it. And now that we got all of the forks successfully off, it should look like this. All right, and over here we have all of our parts, bolts, and tools that we did remove. And we have our forks. So this is part 1 of my series. I'm going to split these up because I want to have as much fun as possible with this experience, and doing it all at once can take a little while. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. I made it as easy to follow as possible. And like the video for part 2 and be back with me then. I just need to order up the fork seals. I'm ordering SKF brand 48mm fork seals. So that'll be great for this bike. And yeah, let's end this video right here and be back with part 2. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions, and I'll be there to answer them. Now, I am out.